Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I welcome all the devotees for today's Bhakti Shastri class. Today we are continuing with the chapter number 1, part 2. Last class we have seen part 1, that is up to text number 22. Today we are continuing with the text number 23 to last shloka. Let us start the session with the Mangalacharan by taking the auspicious invocation mantras. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I request all the devotees to keep their video on and actively participate in the discussions. I request all the devotees to keep their video on unless they have some network problem. Okay, we'll start today's session by a quick review about the last session. By taking the blessings of Srila Prabhupada, Shri Radha Govinda and Shri Gaurnitai, let us start our today's session. Shri Radha Govinda ki jai, Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lesson 1, we have seen what is the mood in which Prabhupada has written this Bhagavad Gita as it is, Bhagavad Gita Yatha Rupa, and what is the mission revealed in the preface. And then we have seen the overview of this Bhagavad Gita, that is the beginning, how the war has started, the portion of the Mahabharata, that is liberal nature of Brahmanas, Dronacharya's liberal nature, and how Duryodhana is taking the name of Drishtadyumna as the son of Drupada. He is trying to say that please don't be liberal here. You have to fight and you have to win the war. We have seen Duryodhana's diplomatic talking with his guru, that is the person who has taught him archery. Then Arjuna's depicting his flag with Hanuman. Hanuman, the importance of having Hanuman in the flag itself is like a victory, which brings to Arjuna. And Arjuna's ordering to Krishna, that was the last portion, what we have seen in the last session. Both armies are standing in front of each other, and Arjuna wants to see who and all have come there, how many people have gathered, and who are going to fight for him and who are going to fight against him. So this is the desire of Arjuna. He wants to see what is the situation. Duryodhana has already done the analysis. Who are there in his party, who are there in other party. He has given all the analysis, and we have seen in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Now Arjuna is going to analyze the army. And Prabhupada's statement on Vaishnavas and violence, how the violence, now this entire Bhagavad Gita is telling Arjuna to fight. Fighting means violence. So how we can justify this violence? By a devotee, a Vaishnava, that is Arjuna. So violence is justified when it is in the hands of right person. A surgeon can cut the patient to cure him. Similarly, a person who is a king, he can practice violence to keep the law and order in the society. So Arjuna is being guided by Sri Krishna to do his duty in the right manner with the right mood. Dhritarashtra asking first question, that was the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. He is doubtful about the victory of his son. And then Sanjaya is answering. First he starts with Duryodhana because Dhritarashtra likes Duryodhana very much. And his diplomatic speech has been described. Then we have seen the analysis. What are the different signs of victory for Pandavas? Now in today's session, we'll be continuing Krishna as Bhakta Vatsala. This is the special quality of the Lord. He is very dear to his devotees, and he always wants to be with his devotees. Whatever devotees orders, Krishna wants to follow it. This is the reciprocation between Krishna and the pure devotees. In the material world, if we become the servant of someone, if we surrender to someone, then it will be considered like a slavery. Or the master to whom we are serving, we have to serve him throughout our life. But in the spiritual world, it is not so. Krishna is equally reciprocating with us. As the devotee is serving Krishna, Krishna also serves the devotee. So that is very clearly we can understand in this situation here, where Lord Krishna is taking the position of a charioteer of Arjuna. Now Arjuna is ordering Krishna, and he has to Krishna is following. And Arjuna gives 4 reasons why he is not willing to fight. These all are very much appreciable reasons that Arjuna is giving to Krishna. And we also feel that whatever Arjuna is telling, correct. Yes, that there should not be any fight. Why there should be fight? These all are valid answers or valid reasons. So let us see what are the 4 strong reasons that Arjuna is giving to Krishna for not fighting. So this is the theme for today. Dharma Kshetre, that is the religious field, all have gathered here. Adhyakshete chaya imam dharmyam samvadam avayo jnana yajnena tenaham ishtasyam iti mematihi. I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. This is Lord Krishna is speaking in the 18th chapter, text number 70, where he is telling Dharmyam Samvadam. This conversation between Lord Krishna and his devotee Arjuna is about the religious subject matter, Dharmyam, how to practice religiosity, how to practice spirituality. So that is the subject matter here. So Dharmyam Samvadam. Whoever studies this, they will be doing yajna, or they are doing the worship of the Lord through their intelligence. We are using our intelligence to understand what Krishna is instructing Arjuna. The very basic requirement for learning Bhagavad Gita is to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If we are not accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we are just reading Bhagavad Gita as any other book, any one of the other books which are available in the market, will not be able to understand Bhagavad Gita completely. Because whatever instruction Krishna is giving to Arjuna, nobody else can give. Only Krishna can give such kind of statement. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shantim richati. Who else can tell this dialogue? Nobody can tell this. So the very basic requirement, if anybody wants to understand Bhagavad Gita as it is, he must at least theoretically understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then only we have to proceed to read Bhagavad Gita. Bhishma Drona Pramakataha, in front of Bhishma and Drona. Now they both are coming close to the army, Arjuna and Krishna. And where Lord Krishna is keeping the army? Between Bhishma and Drona. Krishna could have kept his chariot anywhere, but he wants to see that Arjuna, whatever feelings he has, whatever doubts he has, everything should come out. And using Arjuna as an instrument, Krishna is giving this Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, to the entire world or entire humanity. So Krishna brings the chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona so that Arjuna can see the army, and he is telling Pashyetan Samavetan Kuruniti. 1.25. You please open the book and you can see. Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyetan Samavetan Kuruniti. Just behold the Kurus. Krishna is telling Arjuna, look at the Kurus. These are the people to whom you have to fight. So you have to kill all these people in this war and you have to gain the victory. Now Arjuna is observing the army. He sees his guru. He sees his grandfather, all the people whom he loves and whom he has respected throughout his life. All those people are in the opposite party. Now Arjuna's dilemma begins. Arjuna decides, I am not going to fight. Tatra pashyat sitan partha pitranta pitamahan acharyan matulan bhratrin putran pautran sakim stata shushuran suhrudas chaiva sena yorubhayorapi. Arjuna saw all these people. Tan samikshasa kaunteya sarvan bandhuna vastitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidantam idam vachaha. Now in the first vision, this is the expression what Arjuna is giving. Now Arjuna gives very strong reason, strong 4 reasons why he is not willing to fight. Let us see them one by one. The first part of the Bhagavad Gita, it's called as Arjunavishad Yoga. The first part is called as the Senavalokana. Second part is called Arjunavishad Yoga, where Arjuna is lamenting for not fighting. He is not willing to fight. The first reason he gives, you can see in the text number 27, the compassion that he has for his own men. Arjuna has fought so many wars and he has won so many weapons he has won so many people and he has gained so much of name and people are respected him so much, but now he is compassionate because the opposite party is not his enemy. They are his own friends and family members. Second one, Arjuna says that there is no enjoyment. If you see the text number 30 to 35, Arjuna is describing, Krishna, if I kill all these people and gain this kingdom, I'll get so much of wealth, definitely. But what to do with the wealth? We earn we earn wealth and we make money, we make big houses, we'll buy so many wealth or jewelry or the car. Why we are doing all these things? To show to others or to have some reciprocation with others. But if there is no one to show, or if there is no one to reciprocate, then what is the use of having all these things? So Arjuna is telling Krishna, there is no enjoyment even after getting all these things. Even if I get the kingdom of heaven, still I will not be happy because I am going to kill all my men. So that is second reason, enjoyment. Sinful reaction. Killing is sinful. We should not kill anyone. We have no right to kill anyone because we have not given life to anyone. So we cannot kill anyone. We should not kill anyone. If we do so, then it is sinful. Fourth reason, destruction of dynasty. In this war, Mahabharata, almost everyone has come to the warfare. Only women, children, and old people are there at home. Rest all have come. Even old among those who are capable of fighting, they have come, like Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya. They have come to the fighting place. So if everyone dies in this field of Kurukshetra, what will happen to the dynasty? Who will guide our next generation? This is the fourth question or fourth argument that Arjuna is telling Krishna. Krishna, I am not able to fight. And these are the reasons why I am not able to fight. So I have decided I will not fight this war. Even if I just stand here without any weapons, and if Duryodhana comes and kills me, that is better for me. I will just die here on the spot. And I will not be incurring any sin, and I am not going to destroy the dynasty. So all these sinful activities will not happen in my hand. I'll just die in their hands. So that will be better than fighting this war. This is the conclusion what Arjuna got. Kripaya Paraya Vishto. Anybody would like to read this? Please raise your hand. Yeah, Nanda Kumar Krishnan Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare.
Compassion. Kripaya Paraya Vishto. Kripaya by compassion, Paraya of a high grade, Avishta overwhelmed. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion. Chapter 1, verse 27.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Arjuna's situation can happen to us also. What is to be done, what is not to be done. We will also come into so many dilemma. So in such cases, we should go to a person who is not in confusion or who is not in dilemma. Then we'll get the answer. But the very first quality that one should have to solve his problem is to accept that I am in problem. Accepting that I am having some problem with my system is half problem is solved. Next is only you have to find the solution. So people are not ready to say that they are in trouble or whatever their life they are leading, that itself is fine. And that is how they should be. So if that is the attitude, we will not be able to understand spiritual life or anything else. We will not be able to solve the real problem of life, that is birth, death, old age, and disease. Even in our education system, there is no education to overcome this birth, death, old age, and disease. There is no solution. Even though they make so much of chemistry, they'll try, but they have not got any tangible solution for it. So Krishna is giving the solution to Arjuna because Arjuna has accepted Krishna as his spiritual master. Even though Krishna and Arjuna are of same age, they both are friends. Arjuna, at this particular moment, being an intelligent person, he accepts Krishna as his spiritual master. And Krishna takes the position of the spiritual master and he starts guiding his disciple. So always we have the instruction. Krishna has instruction for us always. Only thing is we should be ready to hear from Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is always there. We may think Arjuna had Krishna in front of him personally. Who is there for me to guide? Definitely we have Srila Prabhupada. We have instructions from Srila Prabhupada. We have Bhagavad Gita that he has given. And there are so many devotees who are ready to give us association. We should take the advantage of it and make our life successful. Second, Kim Bhogair. Puja Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Enjoyment. Kim Bhogair. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? What pleasure will be derived from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Chapter 1, verses 32 to 35. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Kim Bhogair. After getting all this opulence, what should I do? I'll not be able to enjoy it. If we purchase something, just like we purchase some very nice cloth, we just don't keep it inside the cupboard and lock it. We want to wear it and we want to go to festivals and people should look at it and they should say, oh, it's very nice, it's good. They should appreciate it. So that kind of expectation is there. So if there is no one, I have all the opulence, but there is no one to show, then what is the use of all these opulences? Arjuna is telling there is no enjoyment, Krishna. Even after gaining the opulence of the three world, I can't enjoy it because I don't have my people to show it. Let us hear from Srila Prabhupada. Archana Jairam Mataji, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives, but Arjuna fears that all his relatives and friends will be killed on the battlefield and he will be unable to share his opulence after victory. 1.32 to 35 purport. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So Srila Prabhupada is giving here. Let us continue. Latha Krishnan Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Enjoyment. He's thinking, Krishna is not so important. My family is important. Although he is a devotee. Therefore, Kanishta Adhikari, in the lower stage of devotion, one may be interested in Krishna consciousness, but his real interest is how to improve this material life. Bhagavad Gita 131. London, July 24, 1973. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. This is the beginning, the motive for coming to spiritual life. If we present the spiritual life to any newcomer, they will say, if I read Bhagavad Gita, can I get good concentration? Can I get good marks in the exam? Or can I get some peace of mind? Yes, definitely. These are the byproducts that Bhagavad Gita will give you. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you will get good sleep. So these all are byproducts of practicing spirituality. All your anxiety will be gone. You will improve your health. But that is the not main goal. Whenever we come to Krishna consciousness in the beginning, these are some of the reasons why we come, but these are called Kanishta Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari means his faith is not strong. He has come to spiritual life for some gain, some material gain. And there is no guarantee that he will continue there. He may go back to the material life once again if his all material desires are fulfilled or not fulfilled. Both cases he may leave because he may think that it is not possible to solve my problem by practicing Krishna consciousness, so why to waste my time? And if it is everything is solved, then he may think that, oh, all problems are solved. Okay, let me enjoy now. I have some extra time now. All my anxiety, all problems are gone. So let me enjoy. So these are the difficulties or problems a person can give up his Krishna consciousness or spiritual practice. But that is not the real goal. If we want to continue in Krishna consciousness, if we want to really become a strong devotee, we should understand what is my real duty, what is my actual purpose of this life, and how can I serve Lord, and how can I make Krishna happy. Arjuna is taking the role of a Kanishta Adhikari here. He is telling Krishna, I will not be happy. Krishna, these all are my people. I am not ready to kill them. So these are the reasons what Arjuna is telling. But Arjuna has to see that Krishna wants to fight, and Krishna has arranged this war. Why? Because he wants to wipe out all the Kshatriyas who are like a burden on this earth. Now, what is the burden? Is it that the earth, Mother Earth, is not able to take our bodily weight? In front of the weight of the earth, our body is very, very small. It is insignificant. That is not the case. The Mother Earth is not ready to take the sinful activities that we do. Mother Earth is a husband of Narayana or Vishnu. She is our mother. She is if I told wrong, Mother Earth is a wife of Narayana, and she's a mother for all of us. So mother, she is seeing that these children are not obeying the father, and they're taking all the wealth, they're exploiting the nature. Whatever food we are eating, it is coming from Mother Earth. We may make big buildings, we may make big industries, but if we want to eat, we have to depend on Mother Earth's mercy. Now, what is the burden? People are exploiting the nature. They are taking the eatables from the earth and they are practicing sinful activity. All the 4 regulative principles they are breaking. So why to give an opportunity for all these things? When a child becomes too much mischievous, then the parents, they will just stop them. They will take away all their freedom and give them an opportunity to reform. So Mother Earth has prayed to Brahma, and Brahma has prayed to Lord Narayana, saying that on earth there is a lot of irreligious activities going on. These Kshatriyas have become too powerful. Now these Kshatriyas has to be wiped out. So Krishna has brought everyone together in one place. Krishna is doing this not because he has some enmity for these Kshatriyas. He is always our loving father. Krishna's killing is also expression of love. Just like parents beat the children, not because of enmity, but they just want to correct the child. Similarly, Krishna is giving them another opportunity by taking away their freedom. So Arjuna is becoming an instrument in the hands of Krishna. Arjuna has to understand this. Nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. You just become an instrument in my hand. In the 11th chapter, Krishna shows the Vishwarupa, where Arjuna says, oh Krishna, you already done this war. Anyhow, if I don't fight, these people are going to die. So I am just an instrument. If I don't kill them, someone else will come and kill them. Okay, then I will fight. That is our understanding Arjuna got. Here, whether Arjuna becomes happy or not, that is not the case. Krishna has decided this war has to happen. So Arjuna's duty is to fight as a warrior. Next, coming to the sinful reaction. Is it not we are getting sinful reaction because of this fighting? Siddharth Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Can you please read?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Sinful reactions. Papam eva shreyat asman. Papam vices eva certainly ashreyat must come upon asman us. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Chapter 1, verse 36.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Now, sinful reaction will come. Okay, Arjuna has agreed to fight against the people who have come in front of him as per the order of Krishna. Now, killing is sinful. By killing them, by killing Kauravas, if Arjuna gets sinful reaction, then he has to go to hell or he has to take the reaction. If we kill someone, then that person get an opportunity to kill us. The word mamsa means mamsaha khadayati iti mamsa. Anybody who consumes meat, in Sanskrit it's called mamsa, that animal which has given you the pleasure of eating meat will get the pleasure of eating meat from your body in its next life or in its future lives. So that is the greatest danger one should understand. What kind of sinful reaction we are waiting for those who are breaking the 4 regulative principles. Now here, why there is no sinful reaction for Arjuna? If a warrior fights in the battlefield, those who are serving as in the military, they are waiting, they are protecting the border of the nation. And if any enemy comes in the front, and if the warrior kills them, he will never be punished. He will be awarded. He will be given Paramveer Chakra. Why? Because he has done something on behalf of the nation, on behalf of the government, for protecting the people of the nation. He is not an enemy. He is a protector. Now, Krishna is the protector of Dharma. And Krishna himself is asking Arjuna, Arjuna, you must fight this war. So there is no confusion. Arjuna must fight. And because Arjuna is doing the activity on behalf of Krishna, on the order of Krishna, there is no sinful reaction for Arjuna. For Krishna also there is no sinful reaction. Krishna is the maintainer and he is the lawmaker. Just like the king of a country, he will not come under the law. King is always correct. We cannot find any mistake in king. That is true even materially. And what about the real king, the supreme personality of Godhead? Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. The cause of all causes, who has no cause, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. He has no sinful reaction. And he is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, you must fight. Fight this war. Do your duty. Become an instrument in my hand. There is no sinful reaction. And Arjuna, by doing so, he is practicing spirituality. If we follow the orders of Guru and Krishna, that will help us to advance in our spiritual life. It will not give any sinful reaction. Further, next reason Arjuna is giving: destruction of the dynasty, death of the family elders. You can see the text. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharma sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo bhi bhavati uta. Death of family elders, because of that irreligiosity will come. Eternal family tradition is vanquished. Kuladharma sanatanaha. Dharme nashte kulam krishnam. Family becomes involved in religion. When there is no elder people in the society, in the family, the children will do wrong things. Just like in the Western culture, we can see as soon as the child turns 13, he or she has full freedom. You can do whatever you want. Nobody is able to question them. Then they will get into so many bad habits, or they do lot of, they will break all regulative principles almost. So this is going to happen. This is what Arjuna is arguing. Degradation of womanhood. Woman is not protected in the society. All men are going to die here in the war. Then how? Who will protect them? Who will give them protection? And degradation of womanhood give unwanted progeny. And this unwanted progeny will lead to the destruction of community projects, family welfare activities. These all are devastated. And also the forefathers, there is one more, the forefathers of the family will also go to hell. We offer the Pindodaka, Lupta Pindodaka Kriya. Sankaro Narakayaiva Kulagnanam Kulasyacha, Patanti Pitaro Hyasham, Lupta Pindodaka Kriya. The Pindodaka is done for the forefathers as a food for them. It is the prasadam that we offer. It is done only once in a year, because in the heavenly planet, our 6 month is equal to 1 year, 1 day. And another 6 month is their night. That is Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. That's why we do all the auspicious activities in the Uttarayana. Because in the Dakshinayana, the demigods, it's a night for them. So all these family members who has passed away, they will not get their share, the Pinda, Udaka. Because of this, they will degrade or they will go to hell. Who will help them? If anybody has done any sinful activity and because of which they might have become a ghost, they are not able to get a body in the next life. If their children give this Pindodaka or the offerings, then that will elevate them. It will be given as a prasadam of Lord Vishnu. So by having that, they will get elevated. Whatever good things we do, all the reactions, a portion of that will go to our forefathers also. So if anybody becomes a devotee in the family, generally people think that, oh, it's a great loss. Or he has left the house. Now he has become a monk. Now he will not come back. It's a very great loss for the family. But actually, those who are really in knowledge, they will understand it is a great opportunity, or it's a great, it's a gain for the entire family. Prahlad Maharaj asked Narasimhadev to pardon his father because he has done a lot of sinful activity, Hiranyakashipu. But Narasimhadev says, because you have become a devotee, your 21 generations are liberated. So anybody becomes a devotee in the family, they will deliver their entire family. So many people, so many generations gets liberated, or they will all get free from the sinful reactions. So Arjuna is arguing all these things, destruction of the family members, destruction of the family traditions. Finally, Arjuna is telling Krishna. Arjuna cast aside his bow and arrow, his mind overwhelmed with grief. He's telling, I am not going to fight. That is the final conclusion. Arjuna is telling, Yadimam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanayaha dhartarashtra ranehanyus tanme kshemataram bhavit. If I just sit here without any weapon, ashastram, and the Kauravas comes with the weapon, shastrapanayaha, and if they kill me, I don't mind. That is better for me than fighting this war and killing all of them. Then Sanjaya continues, Eva mukta Arjuna sankhe ratopasta upavishat visrujya sashram chapam shoka samvigna manasaha. Dhritarashtra must be very happy now. Anyhow, Arjuna is not going to fight, and Arjuna is the greatest warrior. And everyone will think that if Arjuna is not going to fight, what is the use of our fighting? So everyone will stop fighting. So Kauravas will win the war, and Duryodhana will become the king. And as long as Dhritarashtra is there, he will sit on the throne. But it is not going to happen, because Krishna is there. Ramesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Being an associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna was above all ignorance. But Arjuna was put into ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to question Lord Krishna about the problem of life, so that the Lord could explain them for the benefit of future generations of human beings and chalk out the plan of life. The man could act accordingly and perfect the mission of human life. Introduction, page 8.
Thank you, Prabhu. Srila
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Now, if somebody is, if two people are talking to each other, we are very keen to listen. What are they talking about? If we just give some lecture, okay, we'll announce there is a lecture now about Bhagavad Gita. All of you please come. People may not be so much interested. But if we see some two people are talking to each other, and if we are sitting there, we'll be keen. What are they talking? This conversation attracts people than giving lecture. Now Arjuna is becoming an instrument in the hands of Krishna. Arjuna should ask the question, Krishna should answer the question, and that answer should have all the solution for every human being. So that is how the Bhagavad Gita is presented. Not only Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam and all Vedic literatures are like this. It is presented in such a sweet manner that anybody can accept it easily. So this is the conversation which is going to start. Arjuna is not in ignorance. Srila Prabhupada clearly is telling here. Arjuna is really intelligent person. He heard Bhagavad Gita once and he understood. He is not like us. He is not an ignorant person. But becoming an instrument in the hands of Krishna is a service that the devotee does for the Lord. Now Arjuna has become an instrument. Taking Arjuna as an example, Arjuna, you have this problem, so this is the solution Krishna is telling. So from that I can also learn. If I am also having such problem, I can also come out of it. And there is no reason for Krishna to speak about the Atma Tattva to Arjuna in the beginning, because Arjuna already knew, because he has also studied in the Gurukula. Lord Krishna has given all these instructions, all this knowledge, not for Arjuna, it is for the entire humanity. Arjuna is asking Krishna not for his own benefit, he is asking for us. Arjuna is asking Krishna to show the Vishwarupa, not for Arjuna. He is not doubtful. In the 10th chapter itself, Arjuna has told, Param Brahma, Parandhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashwatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam Vibhum. Krishna, here the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna has already accepted it. But still in this 11th chapter, he is asking, Krishna, whatever you are told, please can you show me? So is it that Arjuna is doubtful? No, Arjuna is not doubtful. But somebody may doubt. Or somebody may come and tell that I am also God. Then we can ask, can you please show your Vishwarupa? Then I will accept you as God. So Krishna is giving a standard. Krishna is giving the knowledge. But Arjuna has to become the receiver. If we want to milk the cow, we should have the calf. If you don't bring the calf near the cow, cow will not give the milk. Cow is actually giving the milk out of love for the cow, the calf. If there is no love, how can someone give something to anybody? If we want to get knowledge from the spiritual master, one should be humble. If we go to the spiritual master thinking that I know everything, and we show our pride in front of spiritual master, then we are very unfortunate. We will not receive anything, because the vessel is already full. There is nothing more to put in that. But when the receiver is good, when the person who is receiving the knowledge is humble enough, then just like the cow gives abundant milk to the calf, and because of that, everyone is benefited. Similarly, Arjuna is the perfect devotee or perfect student of Krishna. And he is able to capture all the points that Krishna is speaking. And that is very clearly visible when Arjuna is asking questions. A teacher is satisfied, or a teacher understands that the student is able to grasp the things by the questions, the kind of questions the students are asking. If we see entire Bhagavad Gita, so much quality questions Arjuna is asking to Krishna, and he is bringing out so many points here. So this is a service Arjuna is doing, and Krishna is using him as the instrument. Puja Mataji, Hare Krishna, can you read this?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Pratyusanti kulastriyaha.
You can read this.
Adharam hi bhavata Krishna pratyusyanti kulastriyaha strisu dustasu varnasneya jayate varna sankara. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Translation also.
Yes. When religion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of the womanhood, O descendant of Rashni, comes unwanted progeny. Bhagavad Gita 1.40. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Arjuna is presenting another argument. Krishna, if we kill all of them, women will not have the protection. And if the woman is not protected, then irreligion will spread throughout the society, and there will be unwanted progeny who will not have any respect for their forefather. They will not do any of the duties to their parents. So such people will increase in the society, and they will destroy the entire world. They just want to kill people. They just want to destroy everyone. They don't want any peaceful situation in the society. So such people will increase in the society, and the entire world will become like a hell by this war. So we don't want to fight this. Arjuna is giving very strong argument to Krishna. Anybody like to read this? Please raise your hand.
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Madhulishwar.
Hare Krishna. Pradyushanti kulastriyaha. As children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. According to Chanakya Pandita, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. Purport of 1.40. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Now this is a statement Srila Prabhupada is giving here, and even Krishna is telling, women and children, they have some common nature. Both are innocent, and both can be cheated very easily. They are less intelligent, and Chanakya Pandita is telling women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. They cannot keep their words because they have no freedom. They have no complete freedom in the society, and they are dependent on someone. The woman in the childhood, she is under the protection of her father. In her youth, she is under the protection of the husband, and in her old age, she is under the protection of her grown-up children. This is how the woman should be protected in the society. If there is no protection, then she will not be able to lead her life. This we can see in the society, how people exploit them or how they cheat them. They can be easily misled. We'll discuss about this point more in the next coming slides. Archana Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Chanakya Pandita says, never trust the politician and women. Of course, when woman comes to Krishna consciousness, that position is different. We are speaking of ordinary women. Krishna says in another place, Striyo Vaishyas Tata Sudraha. Bhagavad Gita 1.40 London, July 28, 1973. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Now, Chanakya Pandita is telling, politician and woman, they are not trustworthy. If a politician, before winning the election, he will give so many things. He will tell, I'll do this, I'll do that. But finally, when he comes to the power, he will not be able to do all the promises that he has told. This is common. It will not be possible also, because there are so many constraints. If he tries to please somebody else is not pleased. So that is the difficulty. So politicians, they tell something and it will not be truth always. Similarly, women, if they promise something, they can't fulfill all the time. All the promises they will not be able to fulfill because they have their own limitations. So that's why Chanakya Pandita is telling these politicians and women are not intelligent, or they are not trustworthy. But Prabhupada is making another point here. When a woman comes to Krishna consciousness, that position is completely different. So when they come to Krishna consciousness, they become very active, and there will not be any difference whether men or women. Prabhupada has given equal opportunity for men and women in all the services in serving the Lord. This is spoken only for those ordinary women who have not come to Krishna consciousness, because originally the living entity, he is not permanently a man or a woman. A man in this life can become next life he can become a woman, or a woman in this life he or she can become a man in the next life. It is all depending on what consciousness one has at the time of death, prayana kale. If you think about a woman at the time of death, you will become a woman in the next life. Just like husband thinks of his wife at the time of death, he will become a woman in the next life. And if the wife thinks of her husband at the time of death, then she will become a male. She will become a man. Then who is man? Who is woman? In spiritual identity, there is no man or woman permanently for anyone. We are taking certain kind of body. But when we take certain kind of body, we act accordingly. A man will act like a man. A woman will act like a woman. Like any other animals, a dog will act like a dog. An elephant acts like an elephant. An elephant will not act like a dog, because the consciousness is like that. The consciousness will develop according to the body that we are gaining. But actually, it is a reverse. At what kind of consciousness we develop, that kind of body we get. So that we should be very careful in cultivating the consciousness. If we become Krishna consciousness, if we become Krishna conscious, we'll go to Krishna's abode. If we worship the demigods, then we go to the demigods. If we worship the ghost, we'll go to the ghost planet. Similarly, if we are getting attached to our house, or our car, or wealth, or society, then we'll get accordingly different kinds of body. A person has built a very large house, and he is very much attached to it at the time of death, and he is worried what will happen to my house, or what will happen to my business, my factory, my office after my death. Who will take care of it? If he thinks about it and he gives up his life, if he is fortunate, or if he is having some pious credit, he will become a human being in the same family in the next life. Or if he is unfortunate, if he doesn't have the pious credit, then he will become a lizard or a snake in that house. That is the law of karma. Because you had the attachment, you will get that. But because you have no credit for becoming a human, you'll become a ant or a snake or a lizard or a cockroach or a mouse, anything one can become. So there is no permanently a person. We should not think that I am a woman now, so Krishna is telling woman is unintelligent, so I'll never be intelligent. Not like that. Coming to Krishna consciousness means you are surpassing all these levels, all these limits. You are completely free to worship Krishna. Striyo Vaishyas Tata Shudra. These all are coming under same category because they are not very much interested in the spiritual practice, and they will be more attached to the material things. Shudra is less intelligent, and in the Kali Yuga, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. People are more interested, more and more they are going away from Krishna. Okay, I need more hands. There are so many people here. You can see only 2 hands. Any newcomers? Any new hands? Can I have? Raghunath Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Pradusyanti Kula Striya. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that when the women become unchaste for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called Varna Sankara. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.5 purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Padmini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like the retaliate against his miscreant cousins and brothers, but it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. 1.32 to 35 purport. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. This point we already discussed. Why Krishna has made Arjuna as the instrument for fighting. Krishna has already decided to make this war. Okay, next.
Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
No, I'll give another. Vinamra Mataji.
Violence also has its utility. Everything has its proper utility. Violence also has its utility. 2.21 purport.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So violence, it's not always bad. Generally, we should not become violent unnecessarily on anyone because it will hurt the other person. But there is need for violence, provided you are authorized to show the violence. Parents has the duty to correct their children. When the children are doing any mischievous activities, parents just can't smile at them. You should take a stick and you should tell them you are doing the wrong thing. If you do like this, I'll beat you. So that becomes the duty. If the parents doesn't do that duty, then they will get the bad reaction. When the child becomes, when the child grows, all the wrong things, whatever the child does, the parents are responsible because you have not trained the child when it was small. Now you are not able to train it because he or she will not listen to you. But because this is not the right time. Till the age of 15, whatever you teach the children, they will not take any offense. That is the nature of children. Lalayet panchavarshani dashavarshani tadayet shodashit prapteshu putran mitra vadacharayet. First 5 years, you should take care of the child like a small baby. You can pamper the child. You can appreciate. Generally, this is done by the mother. And dashavarshani tadayet. From the age of 6 up to 15, father will train the child. He will tadayet, means he will give the shiksha, the training. And shodashit prapteshu, when the child becomes 16, now it is the time to see whatever training you have given. Now you cannot bend them. Now they will not listen to you like as earlier. Now you can just be a friend. Putran mitra vadacharayet. Just like a friend, you can give them guidance and allow them to lead their life. Let them take the decision. So here the violence is needed. The small children has to be corrected. Similarly, the king of a nation, he has to practice violence for the miscreants. When there is a murder, the murderer has to be punished. He should not be given pardon. If we just give them pardon and just leave them, then what happens? Others will watch the same and they'll think, oh, if I kill someone, nothing will happen. In this nation, everything is allowed. You can kill anyone. Then there is more violence. And the law and order will go out of hand. And all the reaction will come to the king. You are responsible. You have taken the responsibility of a king and you have not executed it. Now you will be held responsible. So violence has its own utility. Another example is the surgery the doctor does. The doctor will do the surgery to cure the patient. But the same knife, if it goes in the hand of a murderer, he will kill the person. So killing is not allowed by a murderer, but it is allowed for the person who is having the actual power, the king or the person who is responsible for protecting the law and order. Everyone should not take the law in their hands. The citizens are not supposed to take the law in their hands. They can only complain, or they have the right to tell the king, this is the problem, we need protection. Yes, it will be given. And not that we ourselves take the weapon and go and fight with the others. Then both will be given punishment. And giving punishment, it will be good for both, for the king as well as for the murderer. The king, if he practices this violence, it will become an example for other citizens. And for the murderer, he is getting the punishment instantly, immediately. And he don't have to suffer for that mistake in his next life. But if he doesn't get the punishment, then he also has to undergo that reaction in his next life, multiplied so many times more. So by giving punishment, the king, he is reducing the reaction of that person, provided he is authorized to give the punishment. Just like the judge of a court, he is authorized to give the punishment. Anybody cannot give the punishment. Now I request all of you to read Prabhupada's purport from 2.21, where it says, yeah, this is the next chapter. And discuss this point: when violence is justified, and why did Krishna, who is all loving, incite Arjuna to war? This is the question. Read the purport from 2.21 and try to answer these two questions: when violence is justified, and why did Krishna, who is all loving, incite Arjuna to war? I'll give you 3 minutes time. You can go through this, and after that you can raise your hand. Whoever wants to give the presentation, means you just want to present, you can tell 1 point or 1 minute you can speak, and give chance to others also. You can speak only after raising your hand. So 3 minutes time you can take now. The time starts now. Okay, 1 more minute. In the next coming sessions, we'll make breakout rooms where you can discuss among yourself and come out with the points. The question is, when violence is justified, why did Krishna is inciting Arjuna to fight? Okay, we have 3 hands raised. Lata Krishnan Mataji, you can present 1 point and give chance to others to speak. There are so many points to discuss. Yeah, Lata Mataji, Hare Krishna, you can start. You are not unmuted yourself.
I was not able to unmute before.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The violence is justified because in Manu Samhita it says that as a every sinner, a murderer who has committed a sin, he has to be punished. Otherwise, he will suffer in the next life.
Yes.
The sin that he has committed, the king has a right, or the lawmaker has a right to hang him, and it is justified. This is one of the reasons that we say that everything is violence is not, it is also an utility and it is not a sinful act.
Thank you, Mataji.
That one point. Thank you.
Archana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the point which I would like to say is the soul cannot be killed. So since the soul cannot be killed, here it is justified that we whatever we do is, that is violence is justified here because the soul cannot be killed. Though Arjuna is killing the enemies, the soul cannot be killed. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
So anybody can kill anyone because soul is not.
No, Prabhuji, because they are sinful. So, since they are the enemies are, that is they are not good. They are not. They are sinful. So when they are killed, Arjuna need not feel bad since he is doing a sin. It is not sin because soul cannot be killed. He need not worry because he is killing them. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, need some more correction. Soul cannot be killed, yes, but it's not. It doesn't mean that anybody can kill the body. It is only at the order of Krishna, Arjuna is fighting, and only a warrior or a person who is having the right to make the law, he can practice this killing. Anybody cannot kill. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Siddharth Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. There are 2 reasons. I'll give one. One is for the administration of justice. So in case of Krishna, it is the administration of justice, and for him, Janma Karma me Divyam, so he is not affected by this. And because he has to ensure that through Arjuna, who is an instrument, this killing is justified. So point 1 is because of the administration of justice. That is for the answer to the point number 2. And point number 1, that is when is violence justified? For that, one has to be in complete knowledge that the utility means sometimes the violence will have utility only when somebody is in a complete knowledge, and then only it can be justified. And the examples are given, like in the doctor's case, but not in a murder's case.
Yes. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anu Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
In this case, I would say violence justified only by personal knowledge, like a person who's having a garden, and the gardener sees he's having a flower garden and he sees weeds growing in the garden. So, but he wants a garden of flowers. He doesn't want weeds growing or any kind of other vegetation. So it is justified by a gardener to remove the weeds and have a garden of flowers. Similarly, in the human society, a person in knowledge having a righteous society or a society based on dharma, it is justified by people in knowledge to order violence, and violence by the state for civil people is justified, and for inter-boundary is also justified if it is done in knowledge. And in Manu Samhita also, where it says that if you kill somebody who has done a murder, his sinful sin is removed for the next life.
Yes.
And Arjuna is asked to fight as an instrumentality of Lord Krishna. In the same way, the justice administration system of any state is run for the instrumentality of the government. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Akhila Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. See, in garden to protect plants, plants like tomato plant or beans plant, we use organic spray, organic insecticides or pesticides like cow urine solution, neem oil solution, etc. Here we are like killing the insects, fungus and bugs. The killing is violence, but still it is justified because it increases the productivity, and it is environmental friendly even. And Krishna encourages war. So this is because Krishna and Pandavas, they had given enough warning to Kauravas to follow dharma method, to follow dharma path, and to give ancestral property, etc. But they refused. Suppose if we purchase 1 kg tomato from market and rotten tomato in that, so that rotten tomato will spoil healthy tomato. Similarly, people who follow injustice path, they have egos, most of the case, egos, and they will dominate over sadhu, sannyasis, people who follow dharma path. So at that case, better to throw rotten tomatoes. Similarly, Krishna encourages Arjuna to make war, I think.
Arjuna is Duryodhana is considered as a weed. Yes, it's another.
Yeah.
Gita. Krishna is.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Puja Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So here it says that the first few verses already Krishna has explained that you're not body, you're soul. So for that reason, Arjuna has been always, it's been already explained to Arjuna. So he is in complete knowledge. And that is why the violence is for supreme justice. And he's doing it for Krishna. So he's following Krishna's instructions as a spiritual master, and as he has already surrendered himself to Krishna. So he is in complete he's following instructions of Krishna, his guru's instructions. And it is all Krishna is already encouraging karma that you should fight. So that fighting is for Krishna. So it is always, the violence is justified for that. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Raghunath Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Violence is justified when sinful actions of the people became more. So when it cannot be controlled, or it is spreading like a disease, in such situations, though a knowledgeable person can execute a violence, so that such that in future generations there will not be much suffering, and there will be some cure for this.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dinesh Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, the first point is the utility of violence, where the violence can be utilized. So just like Krishna in this Bhagavad Gita only, I have read that 6 types of aggressors can be killed, and we won't incur any sin if we kill them.
Yeah.
So Kauravas have showed all these aggression against the Pandavas. So killing them will not incur any sin on Pandavas. And second point is that if Lord himself is ordering someone to do something, there can be nothing wrong about it.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and whatever he says, that is always correct. Because Krishna says, it is so. That is the final authority. Okay, we'll continue our discussion. May I have someone who would like to read this? Vijay Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The other side, Duryodhana, why he did not think in that way? Why Arjuna is thinking? Because he is a devotee. That is the difference. The devotee thinks like that. A devotee does not like to kill anyone, even an ant. So many atrocities were done to him. Still, when the question of killing came, he was not very happy. No, this is Vaishnava. He is ready to excuse even the greatest enemy. Bhagavad Gita 1.26 to 27, London, July 21, 1973. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now, the question is, why Duryodhana is not asking the same question? Duryodhana came to his spiritual master, Dronacharya, and told, look at Drupada. Look at the son of Drupada. He has arranged all these phalanx and he is ready to kill you. And you have taught him the archery. But Arjuna is completely different from him. Duryodhana is always trying to kill someone, or he is trying to gain the victory. And Arjuna is trying to go away from the war. Now what Krishna is telling? We have both examples now. Someone is running away from the war and someone is running towards the war. But Krishna is telling both are wrong. Both are wrong. Duryodhana, what Duryodhana is doing, that is also wrong. What Arjuna is doing, that is also wrong. Then what is correct? One must fight, but without any personal ambition. If a warrior goes to the battlefield and he kills so many people, he will get Paramvir Chakra. But if he comes to home and if he takes his gun and shoots his neighbor, then he will also be hanged. Similarly, Arjuna, when he is killing or when he is fighting, it is not for his personal gain at all. When Arjuna says there is no enjoyment, there is no need to have enjoyment for Arjuna, because he is doing it as a duty. He has taken the position of a warrior and now it is his duty to perform. So he has to do that. But our Duryodhana case, it's not so. Duryodhana is fighting for his personal gain. Duryodhana is not thinking I have to protect the dharma. Or Duryodhana is not thinking that I will take over this kingdom and I will serve all the citizens of the nation and I will take care of all their welfare. No. Duryodhana's intention is not so. He wants sense gratification. So both are wrong. Duryodhana's fighting is also wrong. Arjuna's running away from the fight is also wrong. Krishna is telling, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Do your duty as a service to Krishna. That is the right way. Even in our life also. We are doing so many activities. Is it that we have to, if you have to come to spirituality, just give up everything? No. You should do Yukta Vairagya. Whatever possible, that has to be offered to Krishna, or it has to be used in the service of Krishna. Just don't give it up. Prapanchikataya buddhya harisambandhi vastunaha mumukshubi parityago vairagyam falgu katyate. If you are able to use whatever possession you have in the service of Krishna and thinking that it is prapanchika, it belongs to this material world, and giving it up, it is called falgu vairagya. It's wrong. Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchate. Anasaktasya, without any personal endeavor or personal motive or intention for sense gratification, anasaktasya vishayam, yatarham upayunjataha, understanding what is its utility, nirbandha Krishna sambandhe, understanding its relation to Krishna, use it in the service of Krishna is yukta vairagya, is the real vairagi. That is what Arjuna, Krishna is teaching to Arjuna. Arjuna is telling, I will go to forest. I am ready to live a life of a beggar. Bhaikshamaphi haloke. And it doesn't matter if they kill me, I will not take the weapon. All these are wrong. This is not real vairagya. But Krishna is telling, use your intelligence, use your power, whatever you have, and do it as a service to me. Follow my instruction. Then your life will be successful. Serve Krishna. If we serve Krishna, then our life will be successful. This is the faith that we should have in our life. Whatever happens, if I am able to serve Krishna in that position, then I am at the right position. I am at the right path. If I am losing the service to Krishna, if I am not able to get the association of the devotees, then I am going in the wrong direction. It is not that how much you are going to be able to give up. Okay, I'll give up my job, I'll give up everything, I'll give up all my family, and I'll just go to forest, or I'll just go to Himalaya and I stay there. Staying there, I'll be thinking, oh, I given up that. I was very happy there. Thinking like that about the family, again, one person may fall down. Instead of that, be wherever you are, chant the holy name of the Lord, follow 4 regulative principles, be in the association of the devotees, practice Krishna consciousness, make your life successful. This is what Srila Prabhupada taught us. Anybody can take this. The qualification is very, very little. You just have to have the faith, and you should put little endeavor. Or you should have the desire to practice Krishna consciousness. It's very easy to start with. And Krishna will reciprocate equally. If we keep 1 step towards Krishna, Krishna will keep 100 steps towards us. He'll make the path very easy. Krishna is also happy when we are going to him. Krishna is loving everyone. It's not that Krishna is hating a Duryodhana. By stopping Duryodhana, or by not giving Duryodhana the wealth or kingdom, Krishna is doing good for Duryodhana also. Because if you give that wealth to him, if you give the kingdom, he will degrade himself more. The better you stop him. A mischievous child, he gets punished by the teacher or the parents, not because the parent or this teacher is envious of him. They want to stop his degradation. They want to correct him. So that's what Krishna is doing. Okay, Vinamra Mataji, would you like to read?
The devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by any miscreants. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. 1.35 per word. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now here, the devotee will not take the offense. He will tell, okay, it's fine, no problem. If Duryodhana has done something, I will pardon him. It's whatever he has done, we will excuse him and let him live. We don't want this war to happen. But Krishna will not excuse. Krishna wants to punish them because he has hurt his devotees. Devotees are under the direct care of Krishna. And other people, the other living entities, they are under the care of material nature. Whatever karma or the reaction, the activities we do, based on that, our life will be decided. But as soon as a person comes to Krishna consciousness, he will be directly under the care of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the privilege of a devotee. It is like the other citizens of the nation and the son of king. The other citizens are maintained by the law, but the son of king is directly under the protection of the king himself. If somebody else falls into water, just for example, the king will tell someone, go and rescue the person. But if the son of the king, the child, if it falls in the water, then the king himself will jump. Similarly, Lord Krishna, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Yajana Paryupasate, Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahami Aham. I will take care of them personally. Whatever they have, I'll protect. Whatever they need, I'll give. This is the guarantee that Krishna is giving. Now, if somebody harms that devotee, then Krishna will not pardon them, or he will definitely punish them. Even if the devotee gives excuse. Duryodhana and other people, they have offended Pandavas, so Krishna wants to kill them. I need more hands. Please raise your hands. There are so many people here, inactive. Please raise
Hare
your
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, you can read.
If you insult his devotee, the devotee may excuse, but Krishna will not excuse. This is Krishna's position. Therefore, be careful to insult a devotee. A devotee may excuse you, but Krishna will not excuse you. Krishna is so strict. He cannot tolerate any insult to his devotee. Therefore, this arrangement of fighting, Arjuna wanted. No, let them be excused. Krishna wanted, no, you must fight. You must kill them. Bhagavad Gita 1.26 to 27, London, July 21, 1973. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We should be very careful about this one thing. We should not commit Vaishnava Aparadha. Should not offend the devotees. Advancing in Krishna consciousness is very easy because of the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. He has made it very easily available. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given it freely to everyone. We can advance in spirituality very quickly, provided we don't commit sin, Vaishnava Aparadha, or the offense towards the devotees. If we offend the devotees, then our progress will be checked. So study skills, lesson reading assignment, chapter overviews, chapters and notes, Purva Swadhyaya. These are the study skills. So you will be made to read in the session certain portion of the chapter, and you will be asked to present. This is regarding the presentation. And chapter overviews will be given in the beginning of the lesson every time, and at the last also we will discuss. And charts and notes will be presented. Purva Swadhyaya, or preliminary self-study questions and analysis, these are there in the session, in the student book, handbook. You can go through. There are certain questions that will be asked in the closed book exam. And also there are open book assessment, that certain questions I will choose and give you, for which you have to answer. This I'll explain in the next coming sessions very clearly. We can go through the handbook. So open book assessment, there are two open sessions. These open book sessions assessments you have to write for one unit. One unit consists of 6 chapters. Bhagavad Gita first 6 chapters consist of first unit. And in that you have to do 2 open book assessment, OBA. Each unit this will be done. And at the end of the unit, you have to give a closed book assessment. And also shloka recitation exam will be there. You have to recite the shloka along with the translation without seeing. These are some of the things you should remember. Now coming to the overview of the today's session, discussed Arjuna's first four reasons. There is one more reason which he is going to give in the next chapter. First four reasons for not fighting, and listed the progressive steps leading toward destruction of the dynasty. Then discussed appropriate and inappropriate application of the statement, women are generally not very intelligent. If a woman comes to Krishna consciousness, they will become very intelligent, or they are very active in Krishna consciousness. But generally, if we see children and women, they can be easily misled, and they will be cheated very easily. So that's why it's told they are generally not intelligent. Then principles of utility of violence, when violence should be used and when it should not be used in relation to the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Why Krishna is asking Arjuna to fight? This question is answered. And current issues, religious violence with reference to the corresponding verses and analogies. Okay. Puja Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord so that human society can be perfectly organized from all the angles of vision, politically, socially, economically, philosophically, and religiously. From any point of view, human society can be reformed by the Krishna consciousness movement. Madhya Leela 19:167 purport. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So this is a purport from Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Lord is giving the Bhagavad Gita to entire human society so that we can use this politically, socially, economically, philosophically, religiously. So many points of view we can see this Bhagavad Gita, and we can use this Krishna consciousness movement to teach everyone. Everyone can get the benefit. So with this, we have come to the end of today's session. Now, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand and you can answer. I request all the devotees to give the attendance in the chat box. The link is already shared by Mataji. Okay, Anu Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have a very question which I wanted to from a long time to ask. How is the violence against insects and pests justified? Like even I'm involved in spirituality, but I just can't resist myself when I see a cockroach or a chinti in my kitchen, and I feel, what is the use of my chanting if I do it very subconsciously, I kill it, and what is the use of it?
Yeah, when we become devotees, we'll become more sensitive to the environment. Otherwise, we'll just neglect it. It's a sign that you are coming to the sattva guna, or you are coming to the goodness. But coming to the point of this cultivation, the crops, it's a part of the farmer has to do it. He has to remove the weeds. He has to use some pesticides to kill those insects. Otherwise, he cannot live. It's a sinful activity. Definitely, there is a sin. It's a part of it. Just like when we do any other activity, there is some sin is involved. Living in this material world itself will give us so much of an amount of sin, and earning money will give a lot of sin. There are so many atonement people do in the Varnashrama system to clear these sins, because it cannot be completely given up. Because only Krishna consciousness, practicing Krishna consciousness is pure. All other activities for living, just like we cannot live without eating any other living entity. Some people eat plants, some people eat animals. It is all finally eating some other living entity. You cannot live otherwise. Except salt, everything has life. So there is killing, there is violence in each and every step. When we are breathing, there are so many insects are dying, knowingly or unknowingly. You cannot avoid it. But coming to Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. It will take us back to Godhead. That's why it's told don't live in this world. This world is very sinful. Just by being here, you are doing sin. Every day you are eating, you are taking sin. But Krishna is making it easy that whatever you do it for me, so that the reaction will not come to you. At least you are saved from that. Otherwise, the sin will come and will be completely caught by this clutches of Maya or the cycle of birth and death. It will be impossible to go out of this place. Now coming to the kitchen, whatever you have told, first thing is better to keep it clean so that insects will not come. The rats or the whatever cockroaches, where it will come only.
One or two comes. I try to take them outside and throw, but they die in between.
Yeah.
In the passage only they die.
Yes, Mother. We should try to keep it clean so that they will not come. You should close all the.
I keep it very clean. Even my maid knows. But still they come, and I try to keep them in a polythene and try to take them out. But in the process also they die.
Yeah, they are hungry. They are waiting. They are searching for food. Just like we go to so many places. No, we explore the earth. We'll dig the land. We try to find where is gold. Similarly, they are also finding where is food. That is their endeavor. So, see, Paramatma is there in each and every person's heart. The ant, it exactly knows where is the sugar. It will make a straight path. It will not go here and there. So that help is there from the Lord also for the insect. But as much as possible, you should not do the violence, but it is a part of life. Anybody, a farmer also, he has to do this. He has to remove the weeds. He has to kill the insects. Then only he can survive. Otherwise, he will die. But there are yogis or people who have taken to spiritual life. They eat only those grains which has fallen after taking all the cultivation, or they'll eat only dry leaves so that there will not be any sin, zero sin. But that kind of life is not possible for everyone. Now you continue with the positive side, Mataji. Don't think about whatever which is not in your control. When you are chanting, an ant may fall under your feet and it may die. It is not under your control. So you do positively, you chant more and more, you read more and more, so that Krishna will take care of everything. But intentionally, we should not commit sinful activity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other questions?
Can I ask a second question?
Okay, Mataji.
I was listening to some Jain theology, and he was saying that Jains do not eat potatoes and all the root vegetables also, like carrot also and other things. He was saying, don't think us that we are stupid people. It is just that they are one indriya jeev. The plants are two indriya. Otherwise, if you eat a thing like bhindi or a bangan, they are one indriya, and the roots are two indriya. So what is a two indriya? What two senses?
I don't know, Mataji. I really don't know about this. Sorry to do this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Siddharth Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You talked about, I think, spoken a shloka on Yukta Vairagya and
Yes.
also explained that. I just want to remember that shloka once again and also understand that.
Yeah, this is Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatarham Upayunjataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagya Muchyate Prapanchikataya Buddhya Hari Sambandhi Vastunaha Mumukshubihi Parityago Vairagyam Phalgutatyate. I think it's coming in Nectar of Devotion. It's quoted by Srila Prabhupada in so many places. Hare Krishna. Padmini Mataji. Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare.
Yeah, like we are killing cockroaches, that this, everything. And then we can ask sorry for Lord Krishna. Then it is, that sin is rectified, maybe. But in the similar case, like even Muslims or other caste people, they are also doing same thing. In the like, they want all the people to convert to their caste. Otherwise, they are killing people. So how is it? I think both are same, no? Like when we are killing cockroaches and taking.
What is the purpose? I want to kill all the cockroaches on this planet. Or
No,
I just want
it is
kitchen clean. What is the difference between the two?
I want to keep my house clean. So it is disturbing me. So
I want to keep my kitchen clean so
Yeah.
that I can serve prasadam to Bhoga to Krishna. That is first piece. I want to empty the entire whole world so that no more cockroaches are there. What is the difference between the two?
No, actually they are not emptying. They are telling you have to follow our religion.
Please don't relate
Otherwise,
anybody this. You are going particular to someone. Don't take anyone's name. I forgot to tell. Yeah, please don't take anybody's name during your question. Any organization name.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Because it may lead to problems.
Yeah.
Speak about the principles. What you want to ask, that will be on. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, please see. Principle is more important. What is the intention behind what you are doing? If you are serving Krishna and if your life you are leading, because of that there is some inconvenience to the nature, then definitely you will get some sinful reaction, but it is unavoidable. But intentionally creating someone by planning, that is not allowed. That is more sinful and it will be punishable. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dinesh.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, just like we read in the purport of Shloka 1.35, I think, that a devotee of the Lord does not take any action against the wrongdoer. So this means we have to develop the forgiving attitude. So what can help us develop this attitude to forgive people?
Yeah, now Anu Mataji asked, there are so many cockroaches are being killed. So why? Because she has practiced Krishna consciousness and the heart becomes more and more pure. And we will think that other living entities are also like me only. Why should I kill them? They are also getting suffering. So that when we advance in spirituality, this kind of goodness will come in our heart, and we'll go ahead of them. Goodness is not the ultimate goal, but we can see how the transformation of the heart takes place. Anybody who is advanced in Krishna consciousness, he has the he wishes good for everyone. So practice Krishna consciousness, keep chanting more, and be in the association of devotees. You will understand the difficulties of other living entities. A person who is in Tamoguna, he cannot reciprocate, or he will not understand what he is doing. But a person who is in knowledge, he will do good for all. Is that answer for your question, Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, I was specifically asking about people who are doing something wrong to us. How can we forgive? How can we develop this attitude of forgiving them?
You have see, there is one is defense, other one is offense. Somebody is doing harm to you, you should defend. Just like Narad Muni had a disciple of a serpent. He told serpent, don't kill anyone, don't bite anyone. But it doesn't mean that he should not hiss. He should, anybody trying to harm the snake, he should retaliate. But don't bite them and kill them. Similarly, if somebody is harming you, then Pandavas were being threatened by Kauravas by burning them in the house. They escaped, and whatever problems came, they faced it. But they did not directly go and attack them. That is the nature of a devotee. But one should not become foolish that somebody is cheating me and I'll just allow them to cheat me. That is not the case.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Lata Mataji.
I have a question, Prabhuji. Whenever there is somebody says something wrong about somebody in a meeting, Prabhuji, I always feel that I should not keep quiet like Bhishma Pitama, and I should voice my opinion if I'm thoroughly convinced that that person is, whatever has been happening is a wrong for a person. Is it right? Because other friends of mine will say, Lata, keep quiet. Why do you have to tell? But somehow being in Krishna consciousness, it doesn't allow me to keep quiet and be silent when I know that wrong is happening to a person, Prabhuji. Am I right? In this thing, what is happening is that I am they don't, I'm in the leadership position, Prabhuji. So people put me in they say that, they want me to follow this thing, which my heart doesn't allow. And I said, I don't remind, because whether it is, I don't want to increase my punya karma or papa karma, everything goes to Krishna. So I says that we are in this profession doing good to the students and others, but doesn't mean that we should be a party to what wrong is happening. Am I right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, you're absolutely right. You should tell as a duty, you should discriminate, and you should make sure that what you're doing is correct. You should not be pressurized by your other people.
Yes.
Definitely, Mataji. Whatever you are doing is right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Another thing, Prabhuji, I have to join this Bhakti Vriksha group, Prabhuji, in the evening. I come back after 7:30. I see there is a group. Whom should I contact, Prabhuji? I do not know.
Nandini Mataji, Hare Krishna. Nandita Mataji, can you address this, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
I
Krishna.
will post the timings again. You can please message me on that. I will add you to the group that you wish to join. And Subuddhi Prabhuji, if you may please talk a little about how useful a Bhakti Vriksha is and how motivating it is to join a Bhakti Vriksha, because both our leaders, Bhakti Vriksha leaders, are extremely experienced and extremely knowledgeable and extremely nice. Siddharth Prabhu and Nand Kumar Prabhu. So, and is there any attendance that we need to take for Subuddhi Subuddhi Prabhuji's Bhakti Vriksha groups?
Attendance may be taken, but it is not compulsory. Yes, attendance is taken to see that people are regularly coming there. Yes, you can keep a record of them who are attending regularly. Thank you for reminding that. I forgot actually. Bhakti Vriksha is very useful and very important to attend, because we get the association of the devotees. Association of devotees is so much important. We will not understand this. If we go to some remote area and if we find there is nobody to talk about Krishna, then we'll understand how valuable it is, the association of devotees. In the association of devotees, you can do so many things which is impossible otherwise. We'll come out of all our sinful reactions and we can control our senses easily. We can engage in a positive activity, and there is a peer pressure of learning Bhagavad Gita and chanting Hare Krishna easily. And you are completely protected when you are in the association of devotees. But if you are alone, you will be easily caught by the Maya, and it is very easy to fall down. So this Bhakti Vriksha is facilitating this, and I request all of you to please actively participate here. It is not only benefiting you, your presence in the Bhakti Vriksha meetings, it will encourage others to join. And if you are in more and more number, then it will have a very good strength, so that everyone, more and more people come and join. And if there is less number of people, then those who are newcomer, he will feel, oh, nobody is coming here, so why should I come? So by coming here, you are benefiting yourself and you're benefiting others also. You're encouraging others also to join. And there are so many activities in Bhakti Shastri. You have to study for open book assessment, closed book assessment, shloka recitation.
The slokas are those 108 slokas, Prabhuji?
No, Mataji, there are 40, I think. I already shared, I think so. If not, I will share once again.
Yes.
With the audio. So these all are activities will be discussed in the Bhakti Vriksha. You can take help. You can ask all the questions. Bhakti Shastri class session takes only in a week, and it is only for 2 hours session. But Bhakti Vriksha, it is happening in more and more time, depending on the timings. So there you will get more freedom and you will get individual attention, and you can raise many questions, and there are so many opportunities. You will get so much services. Whenever there is a service like festivals, when there is a yatra, you will get directly noticed for giving the service. Otherwise, people may not know you, or you may very good at doing some service to the Lord, but it may not be understood by other devotees. So in this Bhakti Vriksha, it will be communicated easily. And as a community, you can do it very well. Just like translating a book. Say, for example, I want to translate certain portion of Bhagavad Gita into another language. One person, it's very difficult. But as a team, you can do it. In Kannada, we are doing. There are certain group of devotees who are very good at this. They will translate, they will distribute the parts, and they will translate the things, and all these PPTs are getting translated to other languages, this English PPT. So there is strength in the group. So I request all the devotees to take part actively in this Bhakti Vriksha meetings, which is happening weekly. I think 2 times, isn't it, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. No, the Nandakumar Prabhu's group is meeting thrice a week.
Okay.
Siddharth Prabhu's group is meeting twice, but we are covering everything.
Okay, nice, Mataji. Yeah. So all the devotees, please take advantage of this and be active participation in the Bhakti Vriksha groups. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. If I may interrupt, there were some queries in the sadhana form which I listed for you in the chat. If you can please take them up if you have time.
You mean to say chat box, or?
Just now, in the chat box, I've put it, Prabhu. If you want, I can read it out after you finish answering questions. There were some queries that devotees asked in the sadhana form, which we wanted you to address.
Yes, Mataji. So I'll read this. I have come across a question in Bhakti Vriksha session of Lord Hanuman actively participated in Kurukshetra battle. I could not find the answer in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1. Do you remember it was told in level 2 class? Or I could have missed such information. My question is sufficient. Need to read to have this information. Is it Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva, Srimad Bhagavatam? No, Lord Hanuman has not personally killed anyone in Mahabharata. He did not fought with anyone. But Hanuman told that I will be in the flag of Arjuna, and when Arjuna shoots the arrow, Lord Hanuman will roar, so that the enemy will be frightened, and he will not attack easily. So he will support Arjuna whenever Arjuna is attacking the other army. So in that way, Hanuman has supported, not directly by fighting. On some days, I have completed 16 rounds, not on japa beats, because I was traveling. Chanting on the beats is very good. If it is not possible, if you are not come to 16 round chanting, then do it, whatever you are able to do. Anyhow, chanting of the holy name is very good, always it's good. But it is always good if you chant on the beats, not on the clicker or mobiles or like that. And traveling also, if you're traveling with the peaceful mind, sitting in a proper position or proper place, it's fine. Okay, you can chant in the train or bus or car, but not with so much of rush in the train, just like in the Bombay train, you have so much of rush. In such places, chanting may not be efficient. So find a good place and time for chanting. Need to provide devotees with the daily routine procedures and practices from early morning Brahma Muhurtam to the time before going to bed. Yeah, this is Prabhupada has already given us. We just have to follow it. Prabhupada has told you have to wake up in the Brahmi Muhurta and attend Mangalarti. After Mangalarti, you chant for 2 hours, finish your rounds in the morning itself. That is well and good, chanting in the Brahmi Muhurta. And after that, in the temple, we have a lot of activities. Darshanarati is there, Guru Puja is there. After Guru Puja, we go to, we take prasadam, and so many activities will begin there, the temple activities. And afternoon also, there is a Arati for the Lord. But what is to be done for other people who are working outside, they should do it like a sandwich. Okay, if somebody is getting late, they can leave. It's already 9 o'clock. There is no compulsion that you have to be in the meeting. This is only question and answer. So what we have to do in the morning, we should practice Krishna consciousness, and in the evening also we should do it. In between, we are doing our daily job. It is like a service to Krishna. Whatever work you do, that is also service to Krishna, because you are you're maintaining your body for serving Krishna. If that is the intention, whatever activity you are doing, that also becomes an offering to Krishna. And more you practice Krishna consciousness, you will become more and more free. You'll get more freedom, and that freedom can be used for Krishna's service. Just like in the job, depending on what kind of job you're doing, you'll get time in between for chanting, or you can read Bhagavad Gita. You can keep a copy of Bhagavad Gita in your office, or if you are working physically, it may be a little difficult for you. Otherwise, there are different types of jobs where you can concentrate or you can remember Krishna. Intelligently, one has to practice. We cannot give one routine for everyone, because people are having different timings of job and their lifestyle is different. So you have to address this personally. Due to my shop closing at 9:30 p.m., returning to bed is at 12 a.m. Has difficulty in attending Mangalarati. 12 a.m. you are sleeping is not so good. Duty, okay. You're 9:30, you are closing the shop. Okay. Maybe you can think about it. 8 o'clock you can close if possible. In Mangalore, all the shops are closed by 8 o'clock, because here people are afraid. Anyhow, you can decide, because your spiritual life is also important. Don't neglect it. Lata Mataji, I think you asked your questions. What general daily planning or rituals to be followed properly by the person? Chant 16 rounds, read Krishna, read Prabhupada books for 2 hours. So 4 hours you have to, if you give to Krishna, then your life will be successful. Everything will be taken care. Chant attentively for 2 hours, that means 16 rounds, and read Srila Prabhupada books 2 hours. Maybe you can read one chapter of Bhagavad Gita along with purport every day. That will make you very powerful in spiritual life. It will remove all the anartha, and it will give all the direction. Prabhupada is living in his books. Prabhupada is present in his books. When we read Prabhupada books, when we hear Prabhupada's classes, it is directly having the association of Srila Prabhupada. So having the association of Srila Prabhupada and following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada will make us advance in Krishna consciousness. However, you want to adjust this to your life, that you can decide, but this is the principle. What are Bhakti Vriksha groups? Okay, and it is compulsory to get. Yeah, it is good if you join. If it is impossible, then it's okay. At least you can join sometimes whenever possible, but it is recommended that Bhakti Vriksha groups, all the devotees should join. It will encourage everyone. Those shloka have already been shared. Yes, Guruji. With audio, yes, we have shared. Yes.
We'll share it again, Prabhu. I'll
Yes.
share it again, Prabhu.
Okay, these questions you are already.
You finished the questions, Prabhu. There are two, Vijay Prabhu and Rhythm Prabhu have raised their hands.
Yeah, we can unmute them. Vijay Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji, my question is actually related to my professional life, which is actually creating hurdle in my spiritual life. So basically, I'm working in an environment where we have to protect our clients. Like I'm working in a claim consultation firm, so where different types of claims comes in a general insurance sector. So many times we have to advocate the cases which are not genuine, but just only for the consultation fees. So many times I actually try to choose the cases where I feel that the client is genuine. But since I'm working in a mid management level, I'm a senior manager. So there are persons above me. So if they choose the case and they hand it over to me, so sometimes I have to defend the client who are not genuine and use my creativity or use my what I can say a talent which I'm having in a negative phase. So sometimes I feel that I should leave my job and not work in that firm. But when I think a step ahead, that if I leave my job, I will not get the salary and I will not be able to means uh, I will not be able to fulfill my family's dream, and that will ultimately disturb my mind, and then the spiritual life will get affected. So, Prabhuji, and sometimes there is also one more scenario that I wear kanti mala and tilak at office. So whenever I'm speaking with the person, with the insurance company or any other authority, so he actually believes in me that yes, Mr. Vijay will not speak untruth. So sometimes I'm actually what I can say. I'm taking advantage of this tilak and kantimala and unknowingly I'm using it for not good purpose. So what is your advice, Prabhuji, and how you can? I request you to please guide me how I can come out of this situation. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
understanding the problem is half problem is solved. That's Arjuna's situation. Yes, you are sincerely thinking about this, shows that you are very keen to come out of the problem. That is very nice, Prabhu. Every activity has one or other difficulty in that. No activity in the material world is free from karma or reaction. But if you practice your Krishna consciousness, gradually you can come out of it, because Krishna will act and he will free us. Just like a person who is not able to chant 16 rounds, we just tell them start with one round. And when he starts chanting one round, his reactions will go down and he will get time for chanting 2, 3, 4 like that. Gradually he can increase. Similarly, you cannot abruptly, suddenly you cannot give up your job, but you can definitely think of how to avoid such situations in a minute quantity, at least in a small way. So begin with a small way or smaller extent to be honest. It is said that a shopkeeper can tell lie because it is his job. If he tells truth, he cannot run his business. But it doesn't mean that he will tell lie all the time. But certain times he cannot be truthful. It is a part of his business. That's why he is in Rajoguna or Tamoguna. He should come out of it, but not immediately. Be honest, or you can keep. There are so many atonement which is told for in Varnashram. There are so many things I can go through. But chanting Hare Krishna, it will cleanse all the reactions. But it doesn't mean that you can chant Hare Krishna for cleansing only cleansing reactions. The main intention should be to surrender to Krishna. But in that path, we can come out of these problems. You don't have to give up your job immediately, but you sit and think how you can reduce your reactions. And gradually, you will come out of any job, any business, any profession you take, one or other problem will be there like this. Nothing is clean. Just like if you jump into a dustbin and you come out of it, definitely your body is not clean. Similarly, we have fallen into this material world and we are doing so many activities which is so much sinful. The only way is gradually come out of it. Until we become pure, or until we come out of the three modes, We cannot serve Krishna with our heart. And unless we serve Krishna with our heart, we cannot come out of the three modes. This is the lock. Like which one to do first? The process of doing will clean us. The endeavor that we do, that will give us the motivation to serve Krishna. So in the beginning, what we are doing is devotional service. It is very like small children. They're trying to cook food. It will not be proper. If they make chapati, it will be either burnt or it will be half cooked. But still, you offer it to Krishna. He will accept the love that we are trying to do. Then he will give the opportunity to raise above all these problems. At the present moment, be wherever you are, increase your spiritual practice. You concentrate on the positive side. Don't think what I can give up. Instead of that, think what you can add more. You can read more Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, you can chant more, you can have more association of devotees. You can take a break and you can be in the association, in the temple. You can go and stay there in the holy places. In the festivals, you can take the participation actively. Or through your profession, you can help the devotees to distribute the Bhagavad Gita. You can give prasadam to your employees. Whomever you think that because of you have cheated them, at least you give them one Bhagavad Gita gifted. Give them some prasadam. Give them one mala. Or at least you can tell them this Bhagavad Gita class is there. Please take advantage of this. All these things will counteract and it will elevate you. I'm telling this not to use the spiritual practice as a shield to protect your profession. Rather, I'm telling you telling that it will help you to come out of it one day. Hope this will help you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. As you rightly said that look at the positive part. So actually looking at the numbers, I would say 60 or 70% cases what I've handled. So the person who have received the insurance money, so they blessed me and they are still in contact with me that due to your support we were able to receive our money. So cases are there also. So means it is the either side. So thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Bharadwaj Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have two queries regarding your first one was I did type it in your chat box regarding the Bhakti Viksha group and it being compulsory not out here the place where I live. It's just 40 kilometers away from Mayapur Dham.
Oh.
So in our place in Kalyani, West Bengal, there is one ISKCON center itself. So exalted devotees to come, the Swamis and all, they do come every Thursday from there and they do give pravachan. So my query was, is it really compulsory to attend this Bhakti Viksha group? Because I'm also into some other things and we need to attend 2 and 3 days into this thing, Bhakti Viksha. So I wanted a clarity over this.
Yeah, you can attend. Actually, if you are attending offline, it will be very nice. You can you can have more active participation there. Definitely, you can go there. There is no problem. But whenever possible, you can take advantage of this Bhakti Viksha also.
Okay, thank you so much. And my second query is in the Bhakti sadhana form. So it's been asked that Mangala Aarti, Tulsi Aarti, Guru Puja, and Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm regular with Srimad Bhagavatam, or not even regular. I'm spontaneous. One day miss, one day I'm there. Otherwise, the next day I'm watching two in straight go. So my query is, which all are really compulsory to get into this activities, so that firstly the spiritual advancement doesn't get hampered, and secondly your this course evaluation doesn't get a bit downgraded, or we say marks don't get deducted. So that was my query.
No, sadhana chart you have to practice, and honestly, you fill the sadhana chart, whatever.
Sure.
That is enough. We'll evaluate on that. It is 5% importance value. This weightage is given. So whatever you are doing, you honestly enter there. That is enough.
Okay. But main thing is following the four regulative principles, and your chanting 16 plus rounds, if I'm not wrong. That's the mandatory part, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Dhanvat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Raghunath Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, how do you have to deal with this physical exercise? Because doctor says physical exercise is required. But if you go through all these things from Brahmur to start the things, and not at least by 8 o'clock we'll be able to complete all these programs. Again, evening also we need a reading program is there. Please guide, Prabhuji.
Waking up in the Brahmi Muhurta will give you fitness. If you see me, I don't do any exercise.
Okay.
If I do also, it will be, I don't need any exercise. Because Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada has, he has formed it such a way that you will never get fat.
Okay.
You wake up in the Brahmi Muhurta, you take bath, you attend Mangalarti, chant, read, and you practice, you dance in the Kirtan and eat only Krishna Prasadam. There is hardly any fat that develops in the body. But still, if you want to, you can do some, you're practicing exercise, even if you do for 10 minutes, it is not a problem. For devotees also, they take a break from their preaching and they go for this exercise. It is allowed, but that should not become your main motto.
And,
for 5 minutes, you can do exercise, no problem.
One more thing, Prabhuji. I forget actually.
Yeah, I'll give. Okay, there is no one else. Yes, Prabhu. You can ask in the next session. Is it fine?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. I thank all the devotees for actively participating in today's Bhakti Shastri session. And I request all of you to attend all the Bhakti Vriksha meetings and actively participate there. So today we'll give a break to this session, and next session we'll continue with the second chapter. How Arjuna has asked question, Krishna will give the exactly opposite answer. Arjuna, whatever you are told, it's all wrong. Krishna is going to disprove it, and Krishna is going to instruct Arjuna what he has to do actually. And in those answers of Krishna to Arjuna, all our problems are answered. All our questions are answered. We'll see this in the next coming session. Thank you all. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.